not, but the only comment I'd like to make, I'd like to also understand if you have more information about that, about Mckinney-Vento, why is it that we have less routes for, I guess, transporting?
So through the chair, I can answer that. There's actually a significant demand for McKinney-Vento transportation right now, but there is no vendor out there that has capacity to increase the number of vehicles that they have. So Mr. Hennessy is working on a daily basis trying to identify 70 vendors that can provide transportation services for McKinney-Vento's students, and there's just nobody out there, which is one of the reasons why my earlier comments about us taking over 7D transportation, whether we would be actually filling a gap that other vendors can't provide, compared to the initial thought is we just take away from contracted services. If we were to have these vehicles available to us today, we would be picking up routes that other vendors just can't provide. So it's not necessarily that the demand is not there, it's that there's no vendor out there. They're calling all around the state trying to find 7D vendors, and it's a lack of ability across the entire state, and many districts are facing the same shortage for 7D transportation.
And so like as a follow-up question, thank you for that, like how are we supporting these students in the meantime?
So that's a great question. So I think it may depend on different circumstances. So either may be serviced by the school district that they're residing in. To whatever extent we can put them on yellow school buses within the city transportation, we try to accommodate to the best extent possible. Or I'll defer to Mr. Hennessy because he works a little closer with that department. If he even knows, he may not even know what the solutions have been.
I'm not sure what they're doing. Other than in some cases, they are actually, students are transported by DCF workers when and where possible, but they have a limited amount of availability with their caseloads because when they're spending the time transporting students, that means other parts of the caseload are not getting serviced.
Yeah, so I guess like from what we're all gathering, or I'm gathering, is that so these students that are in DCF, some of them are homeless right now when it comes to transportation to our schools. There's still a question that we don't know what's going on in terms of supporting them, and I think that's kind of troubling for me.
Well, we don't know in transportation what support services educationally the students are getting. That is other departments that we're not familiar with how that happens. We do know that we get regular requests, sometimes on a daily basis, it seems, for new students who are either in a homeless or a foster situation, or Mckinney-Vento or new special needs placement, either going from the city to an outside placement or coming back to the city from foster placement.
Through the chair, as part of our experience last year of taking over transportation, we purchased 7 7D vans. Was it 10 from AA Transportation? And so we're already in the 7D market. If we could have access to vehicles, we would be able to increase the level of service, we think, almost immediately. We do believe we can attract 7D drivers because of the threshold is less than the CDL requirements to provide the service. We just need to get access to vehicles in order to provide the service.
We have gone as far as Danvers to try to track down some vendors, and there's some paperwork that needs to be done to make sure, number one, that they're 7D certified, that they're properly insured, that the drivers have been quarried and fingerprinted and things of that nature, just to make sure that we're protecting the children. Besides.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Just a couple of questions and one follow-up to Member Kamara's question. So, and maybe this is to the chair, is Mass Association of School Committees, or what state level work is happening around this issue
This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay.
I mean,
interesting.
there's definitely a statewide, nobody has enough buses and nobody has enough transportation.
Yeah.
But I think the flurry that I've heard has all been so big bus focused. I mean, I hate to say it, but this is such a small margin of the student population
Yep,
that this is the first that I'm hearing of it.
okay.
But certainly it raises the question as to, if the supply isn't there, then there's this unspoken demand.
Mhm.
I think what I'm thinking of in terms of Vice Chair Kamara's question is that, then the question shifts in terms of what division we're talking about, right? Which is that if you can't do transportation, what are the services you're providing, which goes under student support services, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Chair, if I can just comment,
Yeah,
but
that's
not to be dramatic, but I would say this is of our transportation needs, this is our biggest unmet need right now.
Mhm.
I mean, double tripping is not perfect, but students are getting to the school that they
Right.
want to get to. This
Right.
is truly an issue we can't solve on a transportation basis, right? I mean, they're working every day trying to solve it. But it's really, I would say this is the highest transportation priority right now, is addressing McKinney-Vento transportation, just because there is no other solution that we see out there compared to the other transportation progress we're making, but we have solutions and ways to deal with that.
And those students aren't getting educated.
Or in the school that they're choosing to
Yeah.
attend.
Yeah, okay. So I just kind of a higher level thing, I anticipate